halt, stranger. I am Lothar, Paladin of the King and humble servant of Innos, your lord. Our commander, Lord Hagen, has entrusted me with the task of explaining to all newcomers the new laws which apply to all inhabitants of the city.
Since people have started simply vanishing all over this town, everyone needs to watch out that they don't suffer the same fate.
That's really not my problem.
All right. Explain the rules of the city to me.
First, the Honorable Paladin Lord Hagen resides in the upper quarter, along with his troops. That is why access to the upper quarter is allowed only to honorable citizens. Second, the town hall in the upper quarter is now the command post of the Paladins. Only the Paladins themselves and members of the militia have access to it. And third, whoever is accused of a crime must exonerate himself with the commander of the militia. Any questions?
It's a bad business.
How do I become a citizen of the town?
Only those with regular jobs will be considered citizens of the town. But don't think that you'll be admitted to Lord Hagen just because you're a citizen of the town. As a citizen, you have access to the upper quarter, nothing more. Only as a member of the militia will you have access to the town hall.
Like this forever. There's nothing you can do about it.
Where can I find work?
You'll have to apply as an apprentice to one of the masters here in the lower part of the city. As soon as a master accepts you, you are a citizen of the town. However, the other masters must agree to it. That's the custom here in Khorinis. If you were thinking about looking for work in the Harbor District, forget it.
It's a bad business.
The scum of the city live there. Don't even go there. You would regret it.
I'd have gone about it differently.
How do I get to the upper quarter?
Say, are you listening to me at all? You're not a citizen of this town. You can save yourself the trip. The guards won't let you in. The entire area behind the inner gate is off limits to you.
How do I get accepted into the militia?
By express command of Lord Hagen, only citizens of the town will be admitted into the militia.
I see.
If you want to know more, speak to Lord Andre in the barracks.
What do I have to do to get armor like yours?
What? You aren't even a member of the militia. You're not even a citizen. How can you even think of being allowed to wear the armor of a paladin? Only a few militia soldiers, those who have performed extraordinary deeds, have been granted that honor so far. If you want to be a paladin, you have a long road ahead of you, my boy.
Enough trouble as it is.
Where can I find the commander of the city guard?
Lord Andre can be found in the barracks at the other end of the city.
Where can I spend the night here?
If you're looking for a place to sleep, go to the hotel directly across from the barracks. The Paladins pay for the lodging of all travelers who come to the city. The traveling traders from the marketplace are also lodged there.
The townspeople are simply disappearing?
Yes, it seems to be more every day. It's most annoying that the militia have still not been able to discover what's behind these strange occurrences. Small wonder that the town's inhabitants are very wary of strangers right now. So don't provoke them when you're in town, understood?
I have an important message for the leader of the Paladins.
The Honorable Lord Hagen is not receiving anyone. Lord Andre, the commander of the city guard, is responsible for all issues pertaining to the common folk.
I get so worked up.
Listen, the city is threatened by dragons.
That can't be true. Another lunatic. We have enough unrest in the city as it is. And without some dimwit scaring people with fairy tales about dragons, I immediately locked up the last person who was here telling dragon tales and sent him to the Valley of Mines with the prison transport. So mind your tongue. We can't use anyone here who spreads panic among the people.
Somebody already reported the dragons here?
Yes. The fellow's name was Diego. I think so, in any case. I warned him just like you. But the lunatic just wouldn't stop getting on my nerves.
I have come to get the Eye of Innos.
The sacred Eye of Innos? How do you know about that? You're not a member of the Order.
A magician told me about it.
I don't know what his motives were when he entrusted one of the secrets of our Order to you, but he certainly didn't mean for you to get your fingers on it.
But
I don't want to hear any more about it. First you start with fairy tales about dragons, and then this. Incredible.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
I've got to go.
If I hear one more time that you are telling people here about dragons, you will be in big trouble. Do I make myself clear?
You didn't get that from me.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
Nobody ever asked for my opinion.
Halt! No one may enter the storeroom!
Why can't anyone enter the storeroom?
The Honorable Lord Hagen has confiscated the goods for the King's army. Are you deaf? One step closer and I'll chop you to bits.
Everybody knows right now.
Where did you pick that up then?
Halt!
That's what I
Only
heard.
the citizens of the town and the king's troops can get into the upper end of the town.
Everything you hear.
Couldn't we make an exception?
What? There are rules in this town. Rules that apply to everyone without exception. If we let you break those rules, it would be unfair towards all those who obey them.
These are bad times.
I'm a respected citizen of Khorinis. Let me pass.
You are the dirt under my fingernails. Make yourself scarce.
It's really not my problem.
Hey, you!
Hello, stranger. You must be hungry and thirsty. Perhaps I can interest you in my wares.
Do you really believe that?
I was actually on my way to see the paladins.
There's little chance of that. Since the paladins made themselves at home in the upper end of town, hardly anyone gets in there anymore.
I don't believe this is gonna change.
Can you help me get into the upper quarter?
Me? Nah, I don't have much say here myself. There are a few people in the lower city who have enough influence to get you past the guards. Mateo, my boss, is one of them. Maybe you should talk to him.
I hardly know what to believe.
Where can I find Mateo?
You're standing right outside his shop. Just go on in. He's practically always there.
I'm in enough trouble as it is.
What about the other influential citizens?
The merchants and master craftsmen here on the main street are the most important figures in the city. You should try to get accepted by one of them as an apprentice like me. Since I started working for Mateo, the people in the city treat me with respect.
You mustn't believe everything you hear.
I need some money, and I'm looking for work.
I've heard that Bosper has trouble with his suppliers. His shop is right over there. They say he pays pretty well.
It's not what I heard.
What do you have to offer?
At the moment, I don't have much choice. The damned landowner doesn't deliver anymore. And what we get from the small farms isn't enough to meet the demands of the city.
Wouldn't be so sure.
Tell me more about the peasants' revolt.
It's quite simple. Onar, the fat landowner, won't pay any more taxes to the city. Imagine, we're at war with the orcs, and that fat slob wants everything for himself. Normally, the city guard would take firm measures in such cases. But now comes the best part. They say Onar has hired mercenaries to keep the troops from the city off his back. Mercenaries. The whole thing will end in a damn war, as if one war weren't enough.
So sure.
What do you know about Onar's mercenaries?
I heard that most of them are former convicts from the mining colony, and their leader's supposed to have been a big shot with the king, a general or something, whom they put away as a traitor. These are terrible times.
Show me your wares.
I knew that would be a problem.
That was obvious all along.
We can only wait.
Hey, you're new in...
Yes, and what about you?
I've come from the mainland, and now I'm hanging around here. I'm almost out of gold, so all I can do now is join the militia, I guess. But I don't want to do that. I won't be slaughtered by those orcs on the king's behalf.
You didn't get that from me.
What can you tell me about the militia?
One of the paladins has taken command. A certain Lord Andre. He's trying to mobilize half the city in case the orcs attack. But you need to be a citizen of the town in order to be admitted. As far as I know, if you're not a citizen, you can train anyway. But you won't be officially admitted.
Thought of that himself.
What else can you tell me about Lord Andre?
He has taken over the position of judge as well. If you cause any trouble in this town, you're gonna have to answer to him. I was once in a brawl with a citizen. He went crying to Lord Andre and ratted me out. That little matter cost me 50 gold pieces. I was lucky that it happened at night, or others would have witnessed it. The more people complain about you in this town, the higher your penalty will be.
Who did you fight with?
With a fellow named Valentino. He often hangs out in the tavern near the temple. I'm not usually a violent person, but that guy needed his face rearranged in the worst way.
Has anything exciting happened?
You could say that. They robbed Bosper the bowmaker. What a brazen thing to do, I tell you. The fellow just ambled into the shop in broad daylight and grabbed himself a bow. And Bosper right after him, hollering, "Stop right there, you rogue!" But the thief was too fast.
It can't go on like this forever.
I'd have gone about it differently.
What can I do for you?
What are you selling?
I can offer you everything you need to survive in the wild. Weapons, torches, provisions, even armor. I still have a special piece in stock. Double hardened armor of snapper leather, still unused. Interested?
What do you know about paladins?
Since these bastards have come to the city, I've had nothing but trouble. The last time I was headed for the upper end of town, the guards flat out stopped me and asked me what was my business there.
And?
Of course they let me in. I had my shop in the city when most of those pompous asses were still chasing pigs with wooden swords. And yesterday, the bastards came and confiscated half of my goods.
The paladins seized your goods.
Everything I had stored in the backyard. They simply posted a guard in front of the entrance to the yard. If I'm lucky, they won't take everything. At least they might leave the armor here.
Can you help me get into the upper quarter?
What? What are you going to do there?
I've got an important message.
Well, well. Have you tried getting past the guards?
Oh man, forget it.
That's typical of those beggars. I don't know how important your message is, and it's none of my business. But even if you told them that a ship full of orcs just anchored in the harbor, they'd send you away, because they have their orders.
So can you help me get into the upper quarter?
It seems to be really important to you. The question is, how important is it to you?
What are you getting at?
I can help you. After all, I'm one of the most influential people here, but it'll cost you.
What are you asking for your help?
100 gold pieces.
You shark.
Take it easy. It isn't your gold I have in mind.
But
in principle, it's my gold. Gritta, the carpenter's niece, hasn't paid what she owes me in ages. But the little brat is constantly running around in new clothes. That means she has the money. I'd like to beat it out of her. But Master Thorben, the carpenter, is also a very influential man. Get me the money and I'll help you.
Where can I find this Gritta?
Like I said, she's the carpenter's niece. His house is down the street, the last house on the right before the smithy.
How exactly can you help me?
Quite simple. I'll use my influence to see to it that one of the master craftsmen here takes you on as an apprentice. As such, you'll practically be a citizen of the city and can enter the upper quarter. Besides which, you'll earn something while you're at it.
Where could I sign on as an apprentice then?
Basically, with any master here on the main street. That would be Harrod the smith, Bosper the bowmaker, Thorben the carpenter, or Constantino the alchemist. One of them is bound to take you on. But it's important that the other masters agree. That's always been the custom here in Khorinis.
How do I get the approval of the other masters?
You just have to convince them. Go and talk to them. But if more than one of them is against you, you don't stand a chance, so behave yourself.
Is there another way to get into the upper quarter?
Perhaps. If I think of anything, I'll let you know.
Why don't you take me on as an apprentice?
I would, but the other masters wouldn't agree. I just recently took on another apprentice.
Help me sign on as an apprentice with one of the masters.
One thing at a time. First fulfill your part of the deal and bring me the gold.
What I heard.
That's the first I've heard of it.
And Enos, in his wisdom, did so.
I'll never get this open without the right key.
Welcome to my shop, stranger. I am Basper. I craft bows and trade in furs. What brings you to Khorinis?
I need to get into the upper quarter.
Where the paladins are? Forget it. You need to be a respected citizen here, or at least hold a decent job. As a stranger, you stand no chance of getting in.
So I noticed. I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. The last one just gave up his job 2 days ago. Do you know anything about hunting then?
Well...
I could teach you how to skin animals. I'll pay you well for every skin you bring me.
Why did your apprentice give up his job?
All he said was that it had become too dangerous out there. If you're really interested, then you can ask him yourself. His name is Bartok. He's probably hanging out near Corrigan's Tavern. Go through the underpass from the smithy, then you're headed straight for it.
I've heard that someone stole from you.
Who told you that? Probably Bartok, huh? Didn't he have anything better to tell you? Oh, well. Let me tell you, if I get hold of this bastard, he can say his prayers. I left the shop for only a moment. When I came back, I could only just see him leave, with my bow on his shoulder. I called the guards right away, but the lowlife ran towards the harbor, and they lost him there. I lit a bonfire under their asses then, and they searched the entire harbor district, but they didn't find a thing. Those bumbling lackeys. I bet my bow is still in town somewhere. I informed the guards on both city gates, and they haven't seen anyone leave with my bow. When I get my hands on that bastard...
I want to start as your apprentice.
Before I take you on, I need to know, of course, whether you're any good at all.
What do you want me to do for you?
I will teach you how to skin an animal, and you will bring me, let's say, half a dozen wolf skins. Then I'll know that you have learned your trade. If it doesn't take you forever, and if the skins are in acceptable condition, I will take you on if you like.
Teach me how to skin animals.
Right. Listen, it's quite easy, really. You take a sharp blade and cut open the animal's belly. Then make a few small incisions on the inside of the legs, and you can peel off the skin. Bring me the wolf skins and we shall see.
What if I want to sign on with one of the other masters?
Balderdash. Herod and Matteo already have apprentices. Constantino the alchemist is a loner, and he hasn't taken an apprentice in years. And as for Thorben, everyone knows he's dead broke. He probably couldn't even pay you. I, on the other hand, am in urgent need of an apprentice, and I pay well, too. But no matter where you want to sign on, you need the approval of all other masters from the lower part of town.
Will I get your approval to sign up with a different master?
All right. You shall have my approval, but on one condition. Work for me, at least for a short time. That way, you can find out for yourself whether you like my craft or not. And who knows? Maybe you'll end up liking it, and you'll stay with me. If you're good enough to sign on with me, you're also good enough for all others here.
Show me your wares.
These are bad times.
He never would have thought of that himself.
That's the first I've heard of it.
I never
I
knew
can't
that.
read that.
He never would have thought of that himself.
fresh face. You're not from Khorinis, are you? This is not a good time for travelers. Bandits everywhere, no work, and now the farmers have risen up too. What winds have blown you here?
I'm looking for work.
Do you know anything about carpentry?
The only thing I can make out of wood is a fire.
And what about locks?
Well...
I'm sorry, but I can't use you if you know nothing about my trade. And I have no money to pay for an apprentice.
Have you had an apprentice before?
Yes, and not too long ago.
And what happened?
His name is Elvrich. He's my nephew. I was quite pleased with him, actually, but one day he simply didn't show up for work.
How long has it been since you saw him?
I guess it must be about 2 weeks.
Where is Elvrich now?
How would I know? He kept hanging around that filthy brothel by the harbor. I wouldn't be surprised if he's still warming the bed of some whore down there.
Have you reported that to the militia?
Of course I have. They were supposed to catch him and see to it that the lazy bones does his work. But I already regret that. He can do whatever he wants. Sooner or later he'll realize he'll get nowhere in Khorinis without a decent job.
Is that so?
So, you know a lot about locks.
What good is a fine chest without a fine lock? I make my own locks. That way, I can at least be sure I haven't built my chest that sturdy for nothing. A poorly made lock is easy to break, and there are plenty of thieves about in Khorinis, especially lately.
Can you teach me how to pick locks?
I don't know whether you can be trusted or not. For all I know, you might be one of those layabouts who only come to town to empty the chests of honest people. I'm not going to teach you anything before I'm convinced that you're an honest fellow.
Can you sell me some lockpicks?
Well, all right, but they won't be of any use to you as long as you don't know how they work.
What do you know about the Paladins?
Not much. They arrived by ship 2 weeks ago from the mainland. Since then, they have withdrawn to the upper end of town. Nobody here really knows exactly why they have come. Many are afraid of an attack by the orcs. I suppose, however, that they are here to quell the farmers' rebellion.
Do you know anything about the Peasants' Rebellion?
Rumor has it that Onar, the landowner, has hired mercenaries to keep the king's troops from breathing down his neck. He was probably tired of having to throw his harvest along with his livestock at paladins and militia. All we notice of this in town is that the food prices keep rising. Onar's farm lies far to the east of here. We wouldn't know if there's any fighting going on there. And if you want to know more, ask the merchants in the marketplace. They get around the island more than I do.
What if I want to start an apprenticeship with one of the other masters here?
All right, I shall give you my approval. But you had better get yourself the blessing of the gods first. Say, are you a man of faith?
Yes, a most humble servant, Master Thorben.
Then go to Vatras, the priest of Adanos, and have him give you his blessing. He will tell you where you can find a priest of Innos. You should get his blessing, too. Once you have received the blessing of the gods, I shall vote for you.
I've come about Gritta.
My niece? What's your business with her? This isn't about money, is it?
She owes 100 gold pieces to the merchant Matteo.
Tell me this isn't true. Ever since that little piece of work moved in with me, I've had nothing but trouble. She's in debt with practically every single merchant in town. I had to borrow 200 gold pieces from Lamar, the moneylender, just to settle her debts. And now this. Gritta should be in the house. Go ahead, ask her. But I tell you this, she doesn't have a single gold piece.
We shall see.
Hey, you, wait. You look familiar to me.
What do you want?
I've seen your face before somewhere, right? Here, we found this picture on some bandits we picked up a few days ago. It looks a lot like you. Apparently, those guys were looking for you.
Gee, I'd never have thought of that myself.
Very funny. What did those guys want from you?
Ask them yourself. You've got them safely locked up, haven't you?
No, they're dead.
I guess we'll never know then.
If you're in some kind of trouble, go talk to Lord Andre. Maybe he can help you. You'll find him in the barracks.
How's the situation?
At the moment, it's quiet. Only the bandits outside the city are causing us problems.
What do you know about the bandits?
They've all come from that blasted mining colony. But there are several splinter groups. Some are holed up in the mountains, and others have joined up with Onar, the landowner. But it's the bandits outside of town who cause the most problems. They're the reason that none of the merchants venture beyond the city gates now.
Where did the bandits who had my wanted poster come from?
We picked them up near the landowner's place. But they didn't look like Onar's people. I think they're part of a smaller group which is holed up in the mountains near Onar's farm. But if you intend to go there, let me warn you. Those cutthroats make short work of everyone.
I'll remember that.
New in the city, huh? I'm Brian. I'm Master Harrod's apprentice.
What's it like to be the smith's apprentice?
Why do you ask? You want to be my successor?
Maybe.
Why not? I'm almost done with my apprenticeship, and then I'm gonna leave the city. But not because of Harrod. He is a good master. I have learned a lot from him.
Why do you want to leave this town?
Because the people here are getting on my nerves above all the other masters. I still remember what a fuss it was getting accepted as an apprentice with Harrod. Really, every one of them jokers had something to say about it. I want to decide for myself who I can or can't take as an apprentice.
Who are the other masters?
Well, there's Thorben the carpenter, Bosper the bowmaker, Constantino the alchemist, and Matteo. He sells armor, but first of all, he's a merchant. All the masters have their houses here on the street, and Constantino's shop is in the underpass to the temple.
Tell me more about Master Harrod.
He's not in a very good mood right now. A few days ago, the paladins came and ordered him to forge some swords for them. They've even forbidden him to sell swords to anyone else. Now he slaves day and night to finish the job as quickly as possible.
Can I buy weapons from you?
Not really, I'm merely an assistant. The weapons that are made in this smithy are collected by the militia and taken to the towers where they're stored. But if it has anything to do with forging, maybe I can help you.
What can I get from you?
I can sell you some steel billets.
I'm looking for work.
I could use a new apprentice. Brian will have finished his apprenticeship soon, and then he'll leave the city. Are you good for anything?
If you mean, do I know blacksmith's work?
No, that's not what I meant. Sooner or later, the orcs are going to lay siege to the city, and then the only men who will count will be those who are in a position to defend our city. And I won't take on anyone as an apprentice who will disgrace me by fleeing the city with the women and the good-for-nothings, instead of holding the fort here with the men.
I'm not a good-for-nothing.
Those are big words. Can you back them up with big deeds?
What are you getting at?
Bring me an orc's weapon. Orcs have been seen near the city. With a bit of luck, you won't have to search for long. If you manage to bring one down, I'll take you on as an apprentice, provided the other masters agree.
When can I start as your apprentice?
Not before you've proven to me that you're good for something.
Can I sign on as an apprentice with a different master?
The other masters may well approve, but I will only give you my approval when you first prove that you're good for something.
Do you sell weapons too?
Forget it. Everything I make goes to the paladins or the militia. I have a commission for 100 swords from Lord Hagen. He wants to equip the city guard.
What do you want? I'm not giving anything away.
I'm looking to become an apprentice.
Really? And with whom are you going to sign up?
I want to sign up with you as an apprentice.
With me? No! I have already had the dubious pleasure once of grappling with an apprentice. That's quite enough for me. I invested several years in his education, and in the end, the poor fool up and poisoned himself. Go sign up with one of the other masters.
What will I have to do to become your apprentice?
I couldn't bear yet another dilettante on my conscience. There is a multitude of herbs out there. Used in different variations, they develop the most diverse effects. You probably don't even know half of them. Here. This is a list of the most important plants. Bring me a plant of each kind, and I might reconsider taking you in as an apprentice.
About the plants.
If you cannot handle that by yourself, you won't be any good as an alchemist either.
I see.
Who says things like that? I can't take care of everything for everybody.
Don't tell me you knew that would be a problem. I've got no time for things like that.
Talks too much.
He would have never thought of that himself.
You didn't know that.
Nobody wants to know.
And it's gonna get even worse.
You still owe me a favor. It is time to pay your debt.
What do you want?
I want my old stall in the marketplace back. Sarah snatched it away from me. But she has had that spot long enough. I want her to give up the stall.
And what's my part in this?
I will give you a letter to stick in her pocket. Then you go to Andre and tell him that Sarah is selling weapons to Onar. She lands in prison. You pocket the bounty, and I get the stall. You have 2 days to accomplish this.
What will happen if I refuse to do that?
That would be truly stupid of you, because you see, I know that you're an escaped convict. If that gets around, it could do considerable harm to your situation in the city.
I never knew that.
All right, looks like I've got no choice.
You're a clever lad. Here is the letter.
How am I supposed to foist the letter on her?
Let her show you her wares, and while she does, you hide the letter on her. And bear in mind, I am an influential man in the city, so don't try to play me for a fool.
I've got to go.
Suit yourself.
Hear ye, inhabitants of Khorinis. By the explicit order of the Honorable Lord Hagen, the following decree is hereby enacted. From this moment onward, Lord...
Ah, customer, what can I do for you?
I'm looking for a room.
Ah, you're in the right place then.
One of the paladins told me that I could spend the night here for free.
Yes, yes. Just go up the stairs. We still have 1 or 2 beds free.
Why do the paladins pay for everything?
I don't know what that's all about either. For one thing, I think they want to get all the poor suckers off the streets so they don't make any mischief. And for another, they want to get on the good side of the traveling traders. Now that the farmers are rebelling, we have to rely on the traders for provisions. Besides, I think they want to improve the morale in the city a bit. Lord Andre has even arranged for free beer to be given out at the Gala Square.
Who's staying here at the moment?
Almost all of them are traveling traders from the market.
Aha.
Don't even think about messing with their stuff. I don't want any trouble here.
I have a few questions about the city. How's business?
When the Paladins came, I first thought that it was a good business opportunity, but they let Herod make their weapons, and neither Hakon nor I make even one gold piece off them. Moreover, the farmers no longer supply us with food, and all the prices have gone up. It's only a small consolation that the Paladins are paying my hotel bill.
What's the problem with the farmers?
They refuse to deliver their goods. Now that the ships no longer come in, the city depends entirely on the supplies provided by the farmers, of course. And Onar, the largest farmer, has hired mercenaries, but the mercenaries don't just guard Onar's farm. They come as far as the small farms outside of town to intimidate the farmers. I saw them as I was passing Akil's farm. I wouldn't like to be in his shoes now.
Where will I find Akil's farm?
If you go out of the east gate here and follow the road to the right, you'll come to a stairway. It leads up to Akil's farm, but I wouldn't go there now. The mercenaries are certainly still there.
Show me your wares.
Enos be with you, stranger. What brings you to me?
I've come to collect the bounty for a criminal. Sarah is selling weapons to Onar.
Sarah? The weapons merchant in the marketplace? Do you have proof of that?
She has a letter in her pocket which details the delivery of arms to him.
She won't get away with that. I shall have her arrested.
Why are you paladins in town?
The goals of our mission are secret. I can only tell you that there is no danger for the citizens of the town. You need not worry.
I've got an important message for Lord Hagen.
Well, you stand before one of his men. What is this about?
That I must tell Lord Hagen myself.
Suit yourself, but you should know one thing. Lord Hagen receives only paladins, or those who are in the service to paladins. It is beneath his dignity to waste his time with members of the common folk.
You dare show your face here. I cannot prove it's your fault that I'm here. Yours and that of this damned Canthar. May Enos punish you.
What do you want here?
I want to see the prisoners.
Go ahead, but don't stay away too long. Understood?
Hear ye, inhabitants of Khorinis. By the explicit order of the Honorable Lord Hagen, the following decree is hereby enacted. Martial law is immediately declared in all cities and regions of the realm.
That's terrible. He can't keep anything to himself.
Well done. Sarah is where she belongs. I have taken over her goods, so...
He simply talks too much.
I've got to go.
Suit yourself.
Everybody knows by now.
Someone's gotta do the work.
Inos be with you, stranger. If you're looking for a good selection for the traveler, then you're in the right place. But I'm warning you, if you're planning on helping yourself without paying, I'll call the city guard.
Just a moment. Do I look like a thief?
Bah!
Works all day.
You won't be the first one to make off with my things today.
I can't take care of everything for everybody.
Somebody stole from
He
you.
says things
I
like
can't prove it. The fellow was damn clever. Introduced himself as Ringaroo, if that really is his right name. He's been hanging around the marketplace the last few days, and every evening he gets plastered at the beer stand down the street. I bet the bastard is drinking my money. I only looked away for a moment, and my purse was gone.
Really, how interesting.
I could get your gold back for you.
Oh, and why would you do that?
Don't tell this to anyone.
He can't keep anything to himself. He'd better shut up.
Well, that depends. Can you help me get into the upper quarter?
You've got the wrong man. I'm from out of town like most of the merchants in the market. If you want to get into the upper quarter, go talk to the resident merchants in the lower part of town.
Don't tell this to anyone.
I want part of the gold as a reward.
First, see if you can get my purse back. Then, we'll talk about your reward.
Really, how interesting.
And it's gonna get even worse. Now that's typical, isn't it?
How much gold was in that purse?
50 gold pieces. That's quite a lot in these crappy times.
He can't keep anything to himself.
Really, how interesting.
Why didn't you call the city guard?
The guards only respond if a thief is caught in the act. And when I noticed my purse was missing, the bastard was already gone.
Really? How
Oh, be careful. If you just knock the bastard down, the city guard will get involved. Lately, things have been getting really tough here. Since the paladins came to town, the guards have been cracking down on brawlers. So think of something.
I shall.
If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes.
That's not what my husband thinks. I don't believe that.
Don't tell this to anyone.
I am Hakon, the weapons dealer. Every man should carry a weapon these days, especially when venturing outside of the city walls.
Things like that.
Tell me more about the area around the city.
It's gotten too dangerous out there. Because of the bandits, for one thing. And also on account of wild beasts. Even the animals don't seem to get enough to eat in these crappy times. They're venturing closer to the city all the time.
That's what I've always said.
Do you know anything about the paladins?
Yes. Those guys are ruining my business. All you can buy in this entire town is a short sword at most. They've helped themselves to anything that's longer than a foot and a half. In return, I now get to live in the hotel free of charge.
Someone's gotta do the work. He had better shut up.
Where do you get your weapons from?
Harad the smith has been my supplier up to now. Now all he does is make stuff for the paladins. He works for those guys day and night like a madman, without pay. He thinks it's his duty. All I can offer you now is my remaining stock.
That's an open secret. That's an open secret.
You don't say.
What do you know about the bandits?
What do I know about them? They robbed me on my way to the city, and I'm not the only one.
And it's gonna get even
They've been up to their tricks for quite a while. The militia tried to track them down, but without any success.
You don't say. That's not what my husband.
Do you know who in the militia took part in the search?
The fellow's name is Pablo. He and a few others went looking for the bandits, but they didn't find them.
Do you know where I can find Pablo?
He patrols around the city. You'll find him either at the Temple Square or in the lower part of town.
That's an open secret.
And it's gonna get even worse. Someone's gonna do the work.
That's not what
What do you know about the disappearances of the citizens of Khorinis?
I have seen many pass through the eastern city gate. Some of those who came I had never seen before in my life. And many of those who went out never came back. But what happened the other day was really quite strange. There was this fellow who came here. I think his name is Joe. He bragged that he would soon come into some serious money. He claimed that he knew how to get into one of the city towers, where the militia keep their arms. I haven't seen him since, even though I used to bump into him around the same time every day. I reported this to the militia. I thought that maybe he had been caught and thrown into the dungeon, but Lord Andre had no idea what I was talking about. He didn't even know the fella.
He simply talks too much.
These are bad times.
Where did they hold you up?
Near Akhil's farm. Just go out of the city gate from here. Follow the road to the right. After a while, you'll get to a few steps. The bastards came from there. I bet they have their hideout back there in the woods.
You don't say.
I'll deal with it.
What?
That's not what
You
I
want
heard.
to take on the bandits? By yourself? You're quite a good fighter, huh?
How much is the matter worth to you?
That's a dangerous business. Well, it's all right with me.
Who says things like
I'll
that?
pay you 100 gold pieces if you defeat the bandits.
Honestly, I witnessed it myself.
But that's terrible.
These are bad
Things I could tell you. Wouldn't be so sure. No one really wants to hear that.
And Enos gave unto him a portion of his divine power.
Hey, you!
Adanos be with you.
Who are you?
I am Vatras, a servant of Adanos, the guardian of the divine and earthly equilibrium. What can I do for you?
Here, I've got a letter for you.
For me? Indeed. This is an important message you're bringing me. I wonder how you got hold of this letter.
I got it from Cavalorn, the hunter.
Cavalorn? Where is he?
He told me to tell you he couldn't make it and is headed for the meeting point. Whatever he meant by that.
I see that you have gained Cavalorn's trust. That speaks in your favor.
I've got this stone tablet. Can you tell me more about it?
Those are artifacts from the old culture, which we have been investigating for some time. There are several kinds of them. Some contain information about the history of the ancient people, and that is the kind I am interested in. Bring me all of those that you can find. I shall give you an appropriate reward.
Tell me about the Ring of Water.
And why would I do that?
Cavalorn sent me to you.
And what did he tell you?
He said you're in dire need of more good people.
Aha. So, you want to join us, son?
Tell me about the Ring of Water.
And why would I do that?
I want to join the Ring of Water.
You do? Well, that means you have already fulfilled the first requirement.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, there must be someone among us who trusts you. Otherwise, you wouldn't even know about it. But I know nothing about you at all.
What do you want to know?
Well, you could tell me where you come from and why you have come to the city.
I carry an important message for the leader of the Paladins.
What is this message?
A large army is gathering as we talk, led by dragons and determined to conquer the country.
Dragons? You speak of beings which until now have only been mentioned in legends. How do you know this?
Zardas, the magician, told me. He sent me to warn the Paladins.
The necromancer? So he lives, and he sent you. Who are you really?
I'm a former convict from the penal colony of Khorinis.
Good. Let us summarize. You are a former prisoner who has been told by Zardas, the necromancer, that dragons have come to conquer the country. And you have come to report this to the Paladins. That all sounds rather fantastic, but I cannot perceive that you are lying to me. Therefore, I must assume that your motives are honorable. I want to give you a chance to join the Ring of Water.
What must I do in order to join the ring?
Know that you take on great responsibility by joining the ring. I do not let just anyone join who comes to us and asks. If you want to join the ring, you will have to prove that you act like one of us.
And that means...
Before we let a young man join our ranks, he must have done a great deed for the ring. Only then can I begin to consider letting you help preserve the balance of forces on this island.
I have vanquished the Sleeper. Isn't that a great enough deed?
My ears hear many a tale these days, including the story about the banning of the beast called the Sleeper. I have not heard that this was achieved by a single man, although your eyes tell me that you are convinced you did this. That confuses me slightly, but I cannot be sure that my senses might not deceive me sometimes.
I have freed many people. The barrier is gone.
Even if you can really claim responsibility for that. The great event in the Valley of Mines has not only set free the water mages and other upright citizens. All the criminals of the entire country are roaming Khorinis these days, harassing the population. The bandits have already taken over large areas of land outside the city. It has become all but impossible to leave the town and return unharmed.
So what would be an appropriate deed that might convince you?
Khorinis is facing a great enigma these days. The number of people missing from the town seems to increase almost daily. If you can explain to me what happened to them, you shall have your place within the Ring of Water. However,
yes?
You should take your message to the Paladins first. I consider it a matter of utmost importance. Talk to Lord Hagen.
But Lord Hagen is not going to receive me.
Yes, he will, no doubt about it, provided you become a member of a powerful community first. The ring has far-reaching connections. We shall assist you in conveying your message as soon as possible. You should talk about this to Laris, whom I trust. He will help you.
What community should I join?
There are only 3 communities that have enough influence. These are the City Militia, the Monastery of the Fire Magicians, and the troop of mercenaries on the landowner's farm. The choice is yours, son. Laris can certainly assist you with this difficult decision. Talk to him about it.
I shall do that.
Wait, if you see Laris, give him this ornament and tell him that it needs to be returned. He'll know what to do with it.